Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Video. So, the Collector's Pack 2020, it's a pack that I've talked about quite a bit on this channel, because it has to do with, obviously, anime archetypes, and when anime archetypes get printed, I do like to cover it and kind of give my own spin on it. And we knew the Numeron monsters, we knew Don Thousand's monsters were coming, because about a month ago, the pack cover of Collector's Pack 2020 came out, and we saw one of Don Thousand's monsters on the cover, as well as Jim Cook's fossil monsters, which we've already gotten pretty much all the fossil monsters that we are going to get, and I've already done a video on that. And we know Robopi's Appliancers, which is kind of a big surprise of this set, is also coming out. No news on Robopi's Appliancers, but we did get a few days ago some news on Don Thousand's number monsters, and I have to say, 2020 has been a horrible year so far, I think, for all of us. It's been a great year for anime archetypes finally getting printed. We've seen it with fossils, we've seen it now with Don Thousand's monsters, we've seen retrains of some of Esperoba's monsters from Battle Cities, Jinzo getting additional support, Mech Lords being printed, as well as Robopi's Appliancers, which will get printed down the line. But this is a little bit of a disappointment. And I'm going to get into that. It's probably going to be somewhere in the video title, and I'm sure most of you can probably assume why I'm calling these cards, and more so the lack of certain cards, a disappointment, because it seems that Don Thousand's massive behemoth monsters, Chaos number 1000 Numeronia and Chaos Imaginary number 1000 Numeronius Numeronia, which have 10,000 attack and 100,000 attack, respectively, which were obviously used by Don Thousand in the final duel of Zexal against Yuma and Shark. It does not look like those two cards are going to be getting printed, which, I mean, I understand it. I understand why they wouldn't want to print those cards, because the base attack stat of those monsters is just absolutely ridiculous. You know, one being 10,000 and one being 100,000. But every one of us that wanted Don Thousand's monsters to be printed for the last 6 or 7 years, every single one of us, the reason we wanted his monsters to be printed, or at least a major reason, was to see these monsters in the card game, to actually see these monsters get printed and get released. And even if they were banned right away, which I know that doesn't make sense from a business perspective, why are you going to print all these cards just to put them on the ban list right away? It still would have been amazing to see them printed, and it is a massive letdown that those two monsters, the two most well-known monsters, two of the most iconic monsters, honestly, from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal anime, I would even say, and even from the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, when you think of overpowered and just over-the-top ridiculous monsters, are not getting printed in this set. The spell card Numeron Chaos Ritual, which is the spell that allowed Don Thousand to go into, you know, his massive plays, is not being printed as well. I believe those are the only 3 cards that Don Thousand used that are not getting printed. So that, to me, is a major letdown. I actually didn't even really think, when I heard Don Thousand's cards were getting printed, I immediately thought, okay, this is amazing. We're obviously going to see Chaos number 1000 and Chaos Imaginary number 1000 finally get printed. Maybe I should have thought about it logically, and why they wouldn't want to print monsters that have 10,000 attack points and 100,000 attack points. But it is a letdown. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was disappointed to see those cards would not be revealed. The cards we are getting are Numeron Wall. These are all cards he used in the anime. Chaos number 1, Gate of Chaos, Numeron Seiya. This was the monster that, along with Numeron Chaos Ritual, the spell I just mentioned, allowed Don Thousand to make Chaos number 1000 Numeronius. So the other cards, all of the cards that were utilized to get to those two ridiculous monsters are being printed, again, besides the spell and the 2 monsters, of course. So that's probably what's also like such a letdown to me, that we actually are getting every single card that was utilized to go into that incredible play in the anime and in that duel. Unfortunately, we're just not going to be getting those cards, and I know there's a chance that maybe we will get them down the road, but it's almost like, if not now, when? If they're choosing consciously not to print those 2 monsters in this set, I can't see them being released at any point in time down the road. And I know that the slots for the Zexal cards are filled up, so it's not like they're going to be late additions to this set. If you were going to print those cards, they would be the headliners when revealing Don Thousand's cards. So we are also getting the 4 numbers, the 4 rank 1 XZs that Don Thousand used early in that duel. Number 1 Gate of Numeron Ikam, number 2 Gate of Numeron D, I would imagine that's pronounced, or V, number 3 Gate of Numeron Trini, and number 4 Gate of Numeron Katvari. And then, of course, he used all of those XZ's monsters, as well as the Chaos number we just went over, to get into Numeronius. We were also getting 2 spells, Numeron Network, which was the field spell that was utilized in the anime. Remember, Astral and Alephis had to go and work together to destroy that field spell, so that had a massive, massive implication on not only the duel, but on one of the characters' fates. And Numeron Direct is the other spell card. There is something really interesting that is going to come from all of these, maybe not as an intended result, but we're getting a bunch of rank 1 XZ's monsters, and through the spell card Numeron Calling, which states that if Numeron Network is in your field zone and you control no monsters, you can special summon the 4 Numeron Gate monsters from your extra deck, but you banish them during the end phase, and also for the rest of the turn, you can only normal or special once. But to get 4 level 1 XZ's monsters will very easily allow you to summon number S0 Utopic Zexal, whose summoning conditions you only need 3 number XZ's monsters with the same rank. So Jesse Wood, who is pretty much like the dueling consultant of mine on the channel, whenever there's things that has to do with cards and that aspect, since you guys know that's kind of my weak point when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh!, things that I don't really understand too well, he really helps me learn different reasonings and different strategies and stuff with cards, and he's been a massive help to me, and he was the one who really brought this to my attention, that these cards and this set could end up being the final nail in the coffin for number S0 Utopic Zexal to get banned. And I really want to talk to you guys about this down below, because this could be one of those unintended consequences from printing these cards. With the spell Numeron Calling, it is very easy to summon this monster, and Utopic Zexal, for those of you unaware, is a massive, massive FTK issue. When Rank Up Magic Argent Chaos Force was a card before it hit the ban list, you could basically do a pseudo FTK where you could get Utopic Zexal onto the field on your first turn, and it essentially just prevents your opponent from playing. It cannot be negated, the summoning of it. Obviously, if it's your first turn, there's really not much your opponent can do anyway. And when XZ's summoned, your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated. Just straight up. So it is an extremely, extremely devastating monster that can almost just end a duel the second it's summoned. And for any combination that allows it to get onto the field early in a duel, which there was an abuse with Rank Up Magic Argent Chaos Force that allowed it to happen, and instead of banning Utopic Zexal, they banned Argent Chaos Force. Well, Jesse did some calculations, and according to him, in an ideal ratio deck running these Numeron cards, you can get to Utopic Zexal 82% of the time. All you need to do is have the field spell Numeron Network activated and have Numeron Calling in your hand. And as long as that happens, you can get 4 of the same number ranked XZ's monsters and just go into Utopic Zexal immediately. And again, according to Jesse, 4 out of every 5 duels where you're running these Numeron cards in a solid ratio deck with searchers and all that stuff, you can make this play happen 4 out of 5 times. And that, to me, probably means that Utopic Zexal will finally go to the ban list. I know a lot of people said that they felt this card should have been the one that was banned and not Argent Chaos Force, because this card was the real issue. It's just Argent Chaos Force allowed you to use it and utilize it so efficiently. And so if this gets banned, if number S0 Utopic Zexal does eventually get banned, Argent Chaos Force might come off the ban list. And it really is amazing irony to me, and this is something that probably only people who watch Zexal in the anime will get, that 7 years later, Don Thousand's Numeron cards could be the cards that finally get Utopic Zexal sent to the ban list. So I guess Don 1000, I guess Don 1000 gets the final laugh in all of this. But that is going to be something that is very fascinating to me, and that is going to be something that I think a lot of us are going to want to keep an eye on. And whether you think that this probably will lead to Utopic Zexal getting banned or some other solution coming from it, please let me know. But again, huge thank you to Jesse for really taking me through all the steps, and you know, the dueling expert kind of that helps me with these videos. So big thanks to him. And yeah, Utopic Zexal getting banned could be one of those fallouts, unintended fallouts from these cards in this set getting printed, which again would see Don 1000 having the last laugh. So these cards, really cool that we're getting them. You know, really cool that we are getting more anime cards printed. But I mean, I gotta be totally honest, it's a huge disappointment for me not to see the two cards, the two monsters that every single one of us who wanted to see Don 1000's cards get printed wanted to see get printed. I mean, these were the two cards that had to be at the very top of your wish list when it came to Don 1000's cards that you would like to see printed, and the fact that it's not happening is a big disappointment. Something else that's really cool, there's going to be another edition of Utopia, another version of Utopia that is fully written in Astral's language in Collection Pack 2020. So that is also a really cool ode to the anime. I mean, you slap this card down in a duel, and while this card is legal, people are going to be like, what language is that? That is not Japanese. That is not kanji. And you can just kind of flex and be like, no, it's Astral language. And you can pretend that you know how to, you know, translate Astral language. And I guess that's some sort of flex, but, you know, whatever. It's really cool regardless. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to go over my thoughts on Don 1000's cards. Again, really cool that we're getting them, but I still have to say it's a bit of a letdown for me. I understand why they don't want to print those cards, but it's still a letdown to me that those are the three cards, really the two monsters in the spell, that are getting omitted. But let me know what you guys think. Maybe you guys are still really hyped for the rest of Don 1000's cards, but if you're upset like me or disappointed like me, definitely let me know down below. And let me know what you think of Utopic Zexal. Really excited to hear from all of you. A special thank you to my Platinum tier patrons, Jorge Carrillo, Horace Maye, Goosey Q, Smith620, Blue Maiden 28, Panther J, Vincent Van Der Veen, Nero, Jarrett Buller, and Aura Dragon, and to my Diamond tier patrons, Jesse Wood, Latrell Smith, and Pegasus Seiya, and to my Egyptian God tier patron, Syn Cloud. Thank you so much to everyone who supports me on Patreon, and to everyone who is a YouTube channel member. I would not be able to do this without all of you. I will talk to you down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.